and I'll be showing you quite a number of things on the bass guitar. I would actually assume, for security reasons per se, in quotes, I would assume I'm starting you up from the very start. And I know you might have learned some things along the line, but I would want to start you from the very scratch. And the reason is so that you would pick every detail as it progresses so that it doesn't get disjointed. It doesn't look like, it seems I've heard this before, now he has jumped to this. And also, it could help you it could serve as a reminder on the things you already know before. So like I said, this is a beginner course on the bass guitar mentorship program, and it's been shot, this video is being shot specifically for you. It's a customized video for you, Mr. Shegu. Thank you for having me. Yes, I'll be using my 6 strings, but basically I would be assuming I'm not using my thickest string, that's this, and also I'm not using my thinnest string, that's this. So we are simply saying we are playing a 4 strings guitar right now. So every explanation I'm going to be giving to you would be based on the 4 strings bass guitar. I might play some of the lighter notes, some of the deeper notes, I might play on the thinnest string, I might play on the thickest string once in a while, but basically we're using the 4 strings in between the thinnest and the thickest. So first and foremost, I must say, if anyone wants to learn anything, if you want to be good at anything in life, there's a principle I have been able to discover over time, and the principle is called the PCS principle. PCS is more like an acronym for pieces, and basically that's what it means. It means to pieces something. Now we're dealing with the bass guitar, we're dealing with music. Now we want to pieces the bass guitar in a way that you will clearly understand the modus operandi, or how the bass guitar should be played. So PCS, pieces. Now I'm going to break the acronym now down into what I've been able to coin out on my own. P simply stands for precision. C stands for control. And S stands for speed. PCS. And I tell you, that's the secret behind knowledge of every field of life. I know you know that already, but I'm just stressing that. Because first and foremost, if you want to learn something, you must know what the elements of, or the components of that thing is. Or what the components are, sorry. So if I want to learn how to bake, I need to know what my baking flour is, my baking powder, and all that, and so on and so forth. So if I want to learn to play the bass guitar, I must first and foremost learn the components or the elements of the bass guitar, both physically and abstractly. That's in terms of the in total knowledge of the guitar. Let me put it that way. So for example, first and foremost, I will show you the parts of the guitar, because it's very, very important as we start this course. Because as time goes on, I'll be relating, not pointing to those things, but relating to them by their names. So for example, this is a bass guitar. This is a 6 strings bass guitar. And I'll start from the very tip here. This point here is the headstock. It is called the headstock, from here downwards. So I'm going to show you what every other thing here means. What I have right here is a clip tuner. It's just a device that helps me tune my bass accurately. Most times when people play on some recordings, or at times, let me say, you get to hear the bass sounds quite distuned. And this device would help you stay perfectly in tune. These are the tuning pegs. These are the pegs, these stuffs here, these components, let me put it that way, that helps you tune. Use it to tune your guitar. Use it to tune your guitar. The tuner tells you exactly what key you are in. But this will help you tune to the key you need to tune to accurately. So these are your tuning pegs. Some people call them tuning knobs, but I'd rather call them tuning pegs, because they are still knobs we'll be looking at. This is our neck. From this point here, way down to this point. This is our neck. This is our neck. Now, these are the strings. These are the strings, the things you strike. These are the strings I'm striking. So this is a 6-string bass guitar, that's why we have 6 strings. This point in front where the strings are resting on is called the fretboard. From here, way down here is the fretboard where it stops here. In front. And this, you can see some vertical lines here. You can see them. These are your fret marks. The lines are your fret marks. In between the lines are your fret points. That's where you have your keys. Some guitars have 22 frets, some 24, some 26, some 30, depends, some 20. So these are your fret points. So the number of fret points tells you how many fretboard guitar you have, or how many fret points your guitar has. So this is the body of the guitar. This whole point here is the body. These are the pickups, like your microphones. This is your microphone for the bass guitar. This is what picks the signal. These are your tuning knobs. That's the reason why I didn't want to call that tuning knobs. These are your tuning knobs. This is your volume. For this guitar, this is the volume. This is my pickup blend, where I choose between what pickup I want to use. This is my bass, this is my mid, and this is my treble. It's different for quite a number of guitars, but for my own guitar, that's the configuration. Where here we have the belt strap points, or the strap clip, let me put it that way, or strap points, however you want to call it. This is another strap point where you hook your belt to. This is your saddle, where you can adjust the action, how low your strings are, or how high you want them to be, or how low you want them to be. This is your saddle. This is your saddle right here. This is your bridge knot. This is where your strings rest on. Your strings rest on this. I think that's basically it for the guitar. Well, I don't practice these things any longer, but I think that's basically it for now. And if there's any other thing, I will be adding to it sooner or along the line on the course. So the first thing, or let me say the second thing, we'll be looking at right now is your fretboard and finger dexterity. Understanding your fretboard and being able to manipulate your fingers around the fretboard, both your left hand and your right hand. Fingers on your left and the fingers on your right hand. So first and foremost, I would want to show you the key positions on the guitar. Don't forget, we are not using the thickest string, and we are not using the thinnest string. So for your open string, what is an open string? An open string is simply when you strike your notes without holding down any fret points. You just strike. So those are open strings I just played. So your first open string is your E. The second string, that's the one below the one we just played, open string is your A. The one below that, open string, is your D. And the one below that, open string, is your G. So basically we have E, A, D, G. Open strings. Just like saying every animal does good. Let me put it that way. Every animal does good. Or every architect does good. However, you want to just find a way to easily remember what your open strings are. So when I strike my open string, or my first string on the 4 strings bass guitar starting from the top is an E, the second string is an A, the third string is a D, and the fourth string is a G. Now it extends. If you have your 6 strings, 7 strings, they are, you can extend it. But basically, this is what it is. I hope you understand. If I'm playing a 6 string, my thickest string is my B. My next string is my E, next A, next D, next G, and the next is C. That's for my 6 strings. For my 5 strings bass guitar, I won't have this lightest string, so I'm just stopping here at G. That's the first thing. You need to know what your open strings are, because once you know what your open strings are, if you get lost, it will be very, very easy for you to resolve back to your original key by the concept of your open strings. So that's one. Secondly, on key positions, I would want to show you what the key positions are. Properly, what the key positions are on the strings, on the fretboard, aside the open strings. So the first key position we have, or that I'll be showing you, since majorly our major scale or our modal approach starts from the key of C, I'll be showing you the first note, which is the position for the key of C on every bass guitar if it's tuned in the standard way. There's what we call standard tuning. That's the original way of tuning your bass guitar. So the first I'll be showing you is the position for the key of C, which is, don't forget, I'm not playing the thickest string and I'm not playing the thinnest string. Our position for the key of C is on our second string, or let me say, on this 6 strings bass guitar is my 3rd string. But on your 4 strings bass guitar is your 2nd string. So it's when you count from the very first fret point, it will be 1, 2, 3, your 2nd string. That's your key C. So, and you already know, I guess you know, your major scale is basically Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do, of which if it's on the key of C is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So basically, if I want to transcribe that in terms of the key positions, understanding that the distance between C and D is a full tone. The distance between D and E is a full tone. The distance between E and F is a semitone. Just like you have on your keyboard, you try and identify the white keys, you discover between E and F, there is no black note. So between F and G again is a full tone. Between G and A is a full tone. Between A and B is a full tone. And between B and C is another semitone. So basically we have just 2 movements to the semitone on the major scale. So if this is my key of C, if I want to play my full tone horizontally for the major scale, or all the 12 keys, or let me say all the 7 keys or 8 keys, considering my octave, this is the way I will go. I'll jump one fret point to the next. I'll jump one fret point, and I move to the next. This is my D. I'll jump one fret point and move to the next. This is my E. Now, from my E to my F, there is no jumping, or I'm not jumping at all. So, just a semitone. Then from my F to my G, I'm jumping one fret point. From my G to my A, I'm jumping another fret point. From my A to my B, I'm jumping a fret point. And from my B to my C, which is the higher octave, I'm not jumping any fret points. So now, I will try to replace or copy these tones in what I call the horizontal or the vertical pattern. So that means if this is my C, this is my D, semitone backward on the next string from my D will be my E. F doesn't have a semitone. E and F doesn't have a semitone in between. F and G has a semitone in between. G and A has a semitone in between. A and B has a semitone in between. Then B to C, there's no semitone. So that simply brings me to, this is my C, this is my D, this is my E, this is my F. I hope you are seeing that. Let me bring my fingers off a bit. So this is my C, this is my D, this is my E, this is my F, this is my G, this is my A, this is my B, and this is my octave C. So I would also send you a chart, more like a chart, to help you understand the key positions, especially when you're on the first five fret points. So from here to here, I will send you just a rough sketch of what the key positions are. So basically, I'm having C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So for example, you're playing a song. This might be too early, but for example, you're playing a song, and they tell you go to the key of C. You don't need to be checking. You don't need to. A lot of people do this. Keep checking. Yes, it did. And at the end of the day, the song finishes and they've not even found where their key is. But once you're playing on a band and the keyboard player tells you go to the key of C, you already know where it is. Because once you count, the third fret point on the second string on your 4 strings bass guitar is your C. And don't forget that your open string on that key, on that string, your open string, when you play on that same string where you have your C, is actually your A. And if your open string is A, that means if we are coming in here, we are jumping a semitone to move to B, right? From A open string, a semitone to B. So we are jumping the first fret point. That's my B. Then semitone. So you can see even from your open strings, you can even derive what key position it is. So one thing I would love you to do when I send you the chart, I would also indicate other ways you can find those key positions using your open string, or you can find those key positions using your first position. When you identify your first key position, you can now find out where other keys are. But for the time being, having shown you your open strings and where you find your C, I would also show you other positions of the key of C. I'll show you, but I'll also show you on the chart. I'll show you now. I'll also show you on the chart I'll send to you. So the first position of your C, which happens to be your octave, would be this. You jump a string, the string directly under the string you struck, then the next string, but this time you move, you slant. This is it. So this is my C. I jump the string under a semitone forward, then the string under the one I jumped, the string under the string I struck for that key, there's a string, the third string under it, which happens to be the last string on the 4 strings bass guitar. So when I have this, semitone forward on the next string, semitone forward on the next string to it. So that's my octave. So if I play this and I play this, what I simply did was I moved from a lower octave of C to a higher octave of C. The same thing for every key. If I play on the key of D and I play this, that means I move from the lower octave of D to the higher octave of D. I hope that's getting clearer. That's the first position. Now, I can still get that same octave on another positioning. So this time, instead of using my vertical positioning, I move horizontally, meaning I don't just come down, but I pick from here. When I pick from here, I count semitones. So from here, I pick this, let's assume this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when I count 8, from that point, I should count the next, from that point of C, the string directly under, once I count 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's another octave. The same thing for every key. Make sure you count 8. Once you count 8, that's another point of that same note horizontally. So, the string under, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That gives me where I land is the octave of whatever note I played. I hope that's clearer now. Same thing for all keys. You know, the beauty about the bass guitar is every key has a similar look. Unlike the piano where you have black keys, sometimes you'll be playing on strictly black keys. Sometimes you'll be mixing your black and your white. Sometimes you'll be playing just your white keys and all that. The fretboard is similar all around. It's just that we have the wider fret points, we have the slimmer fret points. But basically, it's the same. I can come here and do the same thing. This is my octave. I come down here. That's another octave, counting 8. Here, vertically, I go this, the semitone of the string below it, then semitone below it, that gives me my octave. Horizontally, I go this way, and I count 8 on the string directly below. That gives me another octave. I hope this is clear enough. So don't forget your open string is E, A, D, and G for your 4 strings bass guitar. Now, that's it for that. Talking about octaves. Don't forget, you can always chat me up, and if you have any questions, I'll be willing to break your questions down and help you understand properly. I know we are not all on the same learning curve. We also are not on the same point in our learning. So you can always ask questions, and I'll chat you up and help you clarify whatever issues you have. So having touched octaves, I'd also love to touch your left hand position. Left hand position. But just before that, I just remembered something. Yes, I know I shared a video recently on that, but I would want to reshare it. Now, we have our open string. We have the octave positions, deriving them horizontally and vertically. But we can also derive those octave positions horizontally on the same string. And the bass guitar has been designed in a way that it makes it very, very easy for us to understand these octave positions. And the way it made it very easy is by providing what we call fret marks. If you look carefully, you will see there's a dot here. Just above where I have my finger, there is a dot. You see another dot here. There's another here. There's another here. There is supposed to be a dot here normally. But that's basically the product name of the guitar. But I'll tell you why they have the product name here shortly. There's another dot, another dot, another dot. These dots are not just there for decoration. You can see here we have 2 dots. There's one up. I hope you can see that. Let me bring it closer. You can see at this point we have 2. One up here and one down here. All others are 1. We have the product name of the guitar. And all others are 1 again. So you can identify your octaves here using this fret marks. Makes it really, really easy. So if I play my open string on my first string on my 4 strings bass guitar, what it simply means is that when I play my open string, where I have the name or the product name of the guitar, you can see it here, is an octave on that same string. That's just the simple theory. Open string, that's an octave. Then where I have this double point on the same string is another octave. So I simply played 2 octaves now. Deep octave, first octave, second octave. Open string to this point where I have the product name is 1 octave. From where I have the product name to where I have double points is another octave. I'm sure you can hear the change in pitch, but still the same notes. Same thing on the string directly below it, open string. String below it. Next string. Still the same thing. So open string to this point gives me 1 octave. So by implication, it means if I'm playing the very first fret point, since from my open string to the first fret point is just a semitone, there's no note in between, that means from this where I have the double marker to the next note gives me exactly the same note as my first fret point. So it also simply means where I have, you can see the first fret mark here, the small circle here. From that point to where I have the first fret mark after the product name would mean an octave. So from here to here, from the second fret mark, you can see the second dot. That means I'll move to the second fret mark after where I have the product name. That gives me another octave. I hope that's clear enough. So sometimes, like I explained in the first video or the previous video I sent, you have someone playing the rock pattern and the person goes, as simple as that. If this video seems too fast for you to grab, you could use VLC player. It would make it a lot easier for you. I also use the VLC player sometimes when I'm trying to score some stuff that sounds quite fast for me to grasp. Yes. So The next I'll be showing you, I started that earlier on, but I just had to break down, so that I'll show you this. I'll be showing you your left hand position on the bass guitar. I'll show you your left hand, and I'll show you your right hand position. So your left hand positioning on the bass guitar is what I will call the finger per fret positioning. It is very, very important that you make use of your 4 fingers when playing. Some even use 5 fingers, including their thumb. But in order not to stress yourself, make sure you always use your 4 fingers. Why? We need to achieve division of labor, so that one finger doesn't keep trying to do everything. You get bored, and after a while, you might even lose your stability and your stamina on the guitar. Sorry. You might lose your stability and your stamina on the guitar. So, using your finger per fret position helps you achieve division of labor. One finger maintains each fret point. You can see it. This has its own fret point, this has its own, this has its own, and this has its own. So there is no issue of, one finger is tired and, every finger is working. Just like we pray one day that all arms of government in Nigeria gets to work perfectly. That's just what we are trying to achieve. To achieve sweetness in music and to achieve a sonorous and dexterous play, we need to make use of the finger per fret positioning. So, your finger per fret positioning simply gives you the luxury and the dexterity of every finger handling the notes that concerns it. If it's not my business, I won't play it. If it's not my business, I won't play it. That's what it is. And for the sake of this course, I'll be introducing you to the labeling of the fingers, of which this is my thumb. Anytime you hear me say, use your thumb, I'm talking about this. This is my index finger. This is my middle finger. This is my ring finger. And this is my pinky. Index, middle, ring, pinky, thumb. So I can simply say T, I, M, R, P. T, I, M, R, P. T, I, M, R, P. So now we get to work. We have a finger per fret, and we want to start playing on the key of C. What it simply means is if I'm running downwards, like I did earlier on when I showed you the octave position on the vertical position, if I'm running my notes downwards, what it simply means is that whatever finger lies on that fret position, that finger plays the note I want to play on that position. If my note lies on the fret point where I have my pinky, then there is no reason why my middle or my index finger should play that note. I mean, at a beginner level. So if I want to play my finger per fret position, running from my position of key C, which is this, then what it simply means is I use, or the way it's done is I play the middle finger, plays my first note. So if the middle finger plays my first note, then I would have my index finger here, ring finger here, and pinky here. That means whatever note I want to play on these other points, those fingers, as they are distributed, would play that note. So I have this. This is my first note. Now, My next note is my re based on what I showed you earlier, whole tone or full tone from my note. So from my first note, which is my key of C. So moving to re, which is my key of D, my pinky plays it. Because I'm maintaining my finger per fret position. You can see, whatever finger lies on the fret I want to play, don't forget, that finger plays the note I intend playing. So we have this. So let me just call it out. My index finger, sorry, my middle finger plays my do. My pinky plays my re, because that's what is there. My mi is on the second fret from the first fret, that's the second fret. That means my index finger plays it because that is my index finger that is on that point. Then the next one, my third fret, my middle finger lies there. So my middle finger plays that note. I return again. The next note is my G, which is my song. My pinky lies there. So my pinky plays it. Then I move. The index finger is on my La. The ring finger is on my T, which is my B, then my octave. So finger per fret. Whatever note I repeat lies on that fret. Whatever finger is placed on that fret point, that finger plays that note. So what I would love you to do at this point, what I would love you to do is, I would love you to play around these on virtually every point on the guitar. You might not be so concerned about using a metronome for now, but you'll still have to use a metronome eventually. But for this, you just start. Keep going down. Why? I want to be sure that if my fingers can cope with the wider fret points, it should also be able to cope with the slimmer fret points. So I would love you to try this. Like I said, if this seems quite difficult, you can reduce the tempo of this video, although I'll be sending you a diagram to help you decipher this properly. But for now, this is it. Finger per fret. One of the reasons why you need to get this perfectly is because there might be some bass lines you need to play that will require you standing in just one fret point or on just one fret point, like this. You can see, using my finger per fret, it made it very, very easy. What I simply was playing was C, E, G, F, A, C. C, E, G, F, A, C. Do, mi, so, fa, la, do, mi, so, fa, la. So I run that also and backward. So if I'm moving from here downwards, I'm descending. If I'm moving from here upwards, I'm ascending. So please don't forget the labeling of your fingers, because on the chart, I would break down exactly what finger plays what note. Now that's for the left hand for the beginner series. Now for your right hand positioning. I always try to explain this clearly so you understand. I'm going to play a couple of stuff, and I'm going to help you, and I'm going to tell you why you need to understand how to use your right hand properly. Now, a lot of beginners make the mistake of starting using just their index finger to play. You can see I'm just using one finger on my right hand. But I kid you not, I've watched quite a number of beginners or players on the bass guitar play with just one finger, and within a short time, they are already exhausted. Why? You can't contain your entire, or you can't restrict your movement to just one leg. If you have two legs, why walk or jump or leap with just one leg? It doesn't make any sense. So we also need to achieve division of labor on our right hand. And so alternative or walking bass pattern of picking came up. Some people use 3 fingers, some use 4. But at first, or first and foremost, it's very important that you learn that the least number of fingers you should make use of when starting as a bass player or as a beginner bass player is your index and your middle finger on your right hand. Now, this is one of the reasons why. Now, if I was just using one finger, how would I have been able to play with such dexterity and such speed? It wouldn't have been possible. So I used my 2 fingers. And if you watched closely while I was playing, you would discover something like this. It was more like I was walking. Now, it might not look like I'm moving forward, but basically I'm moving around the strings and it's helping me in fluidity. Now, how do you achieve usage of your 2 fingers, your index and your middle finger on your right hand? First and foremost, you need to exercise on your right hand. It will be difficult at first because you probably have been doing other things with your fingers, and the sequence or the techniques or the technicalities of using your 2 fingers might be something you need to break through. You might need to break through that limit. I had to break through the limit. It wasn't easy, I tell you. I had to break through that limit. And most importantly, the first limit you need to break through is your mind. You need to understand that if you can get your mind to believe that you can do it, then definitely you would achieve it. So first and foremost, break the limits in your mind, and further, break the limits on your fingers. How do you break the limits on your fingers? Most importantly, you might not even need to have your volume turned on. But what you can simply do is just try to model you walking and moving. You know, when you walk, you don't just move with your left leg twice or 3 times. No. You take it alternatively, or alternately, if there's any word like that. So you move with your left leg, then you move with your right, you move with your left, right, left, right. Even when you're marching, you move with your left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. So basically, would move with our I, M. What is our I? Our index finger. What's our M? Our middle finger. So I, M, I, M, I, M, I, M. So when you wake up in the morning, you probably would have to do this for the next 3 months, probably, because it takes quite a while to break through limits. So you need to keep doing it until your subconscious gets used to it. So this is simply what I do. I'll bring my guitar closer. So we have this on one string or whatever string, or let me say my first string, assuming I'm playing my 4-string bass guitar. You can see I'm walking. I'm walking. I'm walking. Then when I do this, I move to the next string. I move to the next, I move to the next. If you have a 5 or a 6 strings, play on all strings. Keep walking. You're going to hurt. Your hands are going to hurt a bit, but that it hurts is a sign that you're making progress. There is no progress without pain. That it hurts is a sign that you are making progress. So when you've done this, alongside this, you need to now apply that together or alongside with your left hand. There has to be a synchrony between both. If not, you end up playing and it will sound disjointed. So how do we achieve this? Now we put our division of labor on our left hand, and on our right hand, we put our division of labor into play. I hope you're getting me. So division of labor. Don't forget your finger per fret positioning here. And don't forget your alternative picking or your walking bass picking pattern on your right hand. Now we're going to merge the two together. Now, don't forget our first note is running it downward. Those are our notes. Now, you watched me, you saw that I wasn't using just one finger on my right hand. Now, I'm going to show you how exactly to coordinate. Now, the first thing you do is you place your left hand on your fret point using the finger per fret position. Then your right hand, you place it just above the first string you want to play. The first string we want to play here is our key of C. So our first note right here would be, which is our Do, C. So my index finger on my right hand strikes the first note. The second note is our Re. My middle finger strikes the second note. That's on my right hand. The next note is our Mi. My index finger takes its turn. The next note is our Fa. My middle finger takes its turn. The next note is our Sol. My index finger takes its turn. The next note is our La. My middle finger takes its turn. The next note is our Ti. My index finger takes its turn. And the last note is our D. Is our Do. My middle finger takes its turn. Sorry, just a minute. All right. My middle finger takes its turn. I just need to get offline a bit. Yes. So, don't forget, you alternate. Index plays your first note. That's your right hand. Middle plays your second note. Then moving down, index plays your third note. Middle plays your fourth note. Index plays your fifth note. Middle plays your sixth note. Index plays your seventh. And middle plays your eighth note, which is your octave. I hope this is clear enough. So what I would love you to do is make sure you practice this consistently. For now, this is our first video, but practice this consistently. And don't just practice here alone, change your positions. The important thing is once you understand your key positions, you might not really be concerned about playing on the right key for now. Except you are playing in a band and the person tells you play on the key of C. Then you can identify your C and play. Play on the key of G, which I believe after this video, after you watch this, you will know exactly what your key, you should have known exactly what your key positions are. I hope this is really helpful as a first video. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, kindly forward it to the group or forward to my email, bazzikt@gmail.com, bazzikt@gmail.com. Or you can send me a message on WhatsApp. You have my WhatsApp number already, 08111 500 439 or +234 8111 500 439. It's my pleasure once again to deliver this first class to you. And I would really love you to watch this class over and over again, because I know there is so much you would gain from it as we move up the ladder towards achieving fluency, dexterity, fluidity on the bass guitar, and also solidifying and having enough stability to continue. Don't forget PCS also. I'll break it down again. PCS, precision, control, speed. Whatever it is I want to learn, I learn precisely what the components are. Secondly, I learn how to control those components. And thirdly, I learn how to speed up the control. So whatever it is you want to learn, just like I showed you the key positions, and I showed you how to move around using your left hand dexterity and your right hand dexterity. Then furthermore, you can now increase your speed. For example, I play, I could go. But if I don't know if I don't know precisely what the components are, then how do I achieve the control of those components? If I don't know what the control or how to control those components, then how do I achieve speed? It's impossible. So most importantly, get the procedure. Know exactly, first and foremost, what those components or elements are, then learn how to control those components or elements, and finally, you can now work on speed. If I don't know how to drive and I just enter into a car and I start speeding off, I tell you the truth, it will end up in an accident. But first and foremost, I have to know where the gear is, or know what the gear is, what it does, know where the steering wheel is, know where my trafficator is, and all that. Then secondly, I need to know when to apply it and how to apply it before I can now increase my speed towards getting to my destination. I'm so glad to be your bass guitar mentor and tutor. Have a lovely day watching this video and practicing. God bless you.